Okay, Mrs. Bittern, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you for coming and meeting with me. I appreciate it.
So I know that you had emailed me requesting some ways to differentiate your lessons in your classroom.
Yeah,
For
I
math?
do some differentiating, but I'm kind of concerned. I don't feel like I always meet the needs of my high-level kids.
Okay.
And sometimes just some new ideas with harder concepts for those lower achievers or lower level students.
Okay. So I remember reading that in your email, and also you had said that you're moving into Unit 9, right? And that's
Yep.
converting fractions to decimals to percents.
Yep, and that's what we're going to be starting that, probably not tomorrow, but the next day.
Okay. Okay, so we have a couple of days where we can maybe get together and plan out some lessons, but also some scaffolds, so ways to meet the
Perfect.
needs of your lower students, and also some extensions, some ways to meet the higher students'
Maybe even some
needs.
compacting. If we look at the pretest, we could maybe
Okay,
do something like that.
perfect.
For some of the specific lessons.
Great. So
Okay.
I have already done some research on ways to differentiate, because I know that time is of the essence. We only have a couple of days. So I've brought some things for you, and I've developed some things in ways that we can meet the needs of all of your students.
Perfect. Okay.
So I looked at your pre-assessment. I know that we had developed a
That
pre-assessment
was a
together.
really hard test for them. They had a couple of tears.
Okay.
It was tough.
Well, that's good to know, because obviously some kids met their frustration level, and we definitely don't want that to happen during your lessons. So that's good to know. So I looked at your students to see, we gave them just a couple of questions just to see what background knowledge they have in fractions, but also how to convert those to decimals and percents. And if you look here at our spreadsheet that we developed, about 78%, so that's 3/4 of your class, do not understand
That's not
how to
surprising.
convert fractions, simple fractions, right? So they're not complex, and that's what the
know.
Common Core standards say.
Even 1/2 stumped some of them,
Right.
which was kind of frustrating.
Right. So, so we definitely need to address the needs of your students that aren't understanding that concept. But you haven't taught it yet anyway, so
Just
don't worry
a little
too
bit.
much.
I mean, with everyday math with the cycle, I think we
Right.
touched upon it, but it was a while ago, so.
Right, and it wasn't a complete unit on
It
just.
wasn't, no.
It was
no.
more a lesson on fractions, what
Yeah.
do fractions mean. So really they're digging in deeper into that concept in Unit 9. But also you can tell that you have almost 25%, a quarter of your class that already knows how to do that. So what do we do with those kids, right? Because
And
it
I feel like
probably
they're
is-
just so bored,
Okay.
you know?
Right, so, and that's when you have more behavioral problems usually. So do you notice?
I
your
have one of
students-
them that is really, really bright. He doesn't have the confidence, so he doesn't know he is, but he does. He gets a little impulsive during math. So.
Okay, so you're noticing maybe some behaviors because of that, because he's
A
not
little bit,
challenged?
because he's bored, and
Okay.
I can tell he's a little bit bored, and it's hard to. I have to build his confidence so that because if I do try to give him something challenging, he breaks down with that too sometimes because he gets nervous. So it's building his
Okay.
confidence and kind of encouraging him to do something a little bit more challenging.
All right, well, those are good things for me to know. So let me just take a second and write down some notes here. Some things because some of the things that I brought today might not meet all of your needs for all of your students.
Okay.
But I think it's a place to start.
No, I like
Because
what
you
we
can't
talked about
tackle
before.
it all.
Yeah.
So I can make some notes here, and we can get back to these maybe, if not tomorrow, maybe even for the next unit. I wouldn't take on too much, change your instruction too much, where it's
Maybe just
hard
one or
for
two
you.
things.
Right,
Okay.
because I think if you can master a couple of things and then move on,
Then add
I
to
think
it.
it'll make the biggest impact for your students' needs
Okay.
and also for you. It'll be easy to transfer from unit to unit, these strategies.
Just build what I do on each unit. Okay.
Right.
That sounds
okay.
perfect.
Does that sound great?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing I brought for you are something called open questions. Have you ever heard of that before?
I don't think so.
Open questions. No, I brought this to one teacher, and she said, "Oh, are those the questions where you just answer as an open-ended response?"
That's what I was just gonna say, like an
Yeah.
open-ended response, like reading.
Yeah,
Do those.
and it's not. They're not like that.
Oh, okay.
They're a question that you'll ask in math that calls for multiple responses. Not one answer is correct. So if you ask this question, an open question, and I'll show you how to do that. If you ask an open question, your lower students can answer at a basic level, and your higher students can challenge themselves to the day's end, you know? So let me show you an example of one. So this is what I mean. So I looked at all of Unit 9, and I developed about 3 open questions, and I feel like we should maybe meet tomorrow to develop more if you're interested.
And I'm free at lunch tomorrow if you are. I don't know what your schedule's like.
I'll look at my schedule. Okay.
That'd be perfect.
So I developed 3 open questions. Now, with everyday math, it always starts with a math message. You don't always have to use that math message. I would just look at the concept that's being taught in that lesson.
So would this be like my math message?
This would be your math message. So the math message is meant to be an inquiry-based initiation. So you're starting by getting the kids thinking. You're not telling them yet what you're teaching, kind of getting them to dig into that concept first before you teach it.
And the ones that we do as a 4th grader right now just go with the book, and they only have one answer.
One answer, right.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're looking at 9-1, so let me read this aloud to you and see if it makes better sense.
Okay.
See how you might answer this question, let's say. Kim is running for class president. She got half of her classmates' votes. What percentage of students voted for Kim? How many students were in the class, and how many voted for Kim?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so you could answer it. She got half of her classmates' votes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what percentage of the students voted for Kim?
Okay.
Well, you know it's going to be 50%.
But some of them don't even know that.
I know. So kids could.
But they can maybe
They
think
have
about
to
it.
dive into the concept.
Yeah.
That's what everyday math wants you to do
Yeah.
too, especially. You want them to dive into the concept first.
So
how many students were in the class?
Oh, so
that could be any number. That could be 50. That could be 13. That could be. I mean, the challenge.
Wow.
And if your kids answer quickly, say, "Can you find another way for them?"
Okay.
To do that? Right.
Because I do have some of my students that will
Right.
probably be able to. That's awesome. So they
How
could
many
even
voted
figure
for-
out how many are in our class and go that
After
route.
you give this open question, I'd give them 5-10 minutes to do it on their own, just like with your math message.
So with a whiteboard or paper, how would?
Whiteboard or paper, or you
Okay.
could. That leads into the next. I'll give that to you in a second.
Okay.
How I would do it in my own classroom, but it's obviously your classroom, so whatever works for your kids. So let's read the next one. Sarah missed half of the problems on a test. How many problems were on the test?
Oh wow.
Okay, so how many problems were on the test? Kind of like how many kids were in your class.
So
How
that's
many-
nice that they can build on those kids that are need more of a basic question. Might be able to remember this from the day before and build on it a little bit.
And you know what? You really might. It's a change of thinking too. You might have to teach your kids how to answer this type of question first.
Maybe not
So your
that.
first day, it might take longer because they're not used to these.
Okay.
So you'll
No, I
change.
think they'll love them though. These look awesome.
How many problems did she miss? Give 2 possible answers. So you're definitely pushing them.
Wow.
So your lower
so
kids.
give 2 answers this time.
How many problems were on the test? Your lower kids could say 10. How many problems did she miss? Well, what is half of that?
5.
Half of 10 is 5. But your higher kids could say 88. I mean, they could make any number.
But then they have to do another exam. Now, where'd you get these? Are they in the math book somewhere? Or
No, I looked at the Common Core standards,
okay.
and we can do that together. So I look at the Common Core standards, I see, okay, what standard is being addressed? What concept are they trying to teach with everyday math? And I know we don't have time to do that right now, so I kind of want to just give you some flavor, a flavor of what I'm seeing in your classroom for differentiation. But tomorrow we can definitely look into this. So in the first lesson, they're changing fractions to percentages. So if you look at this, Kim is running for class president. She got half of her classmates' votes. What percentage of students voted for Kim? So really, that's the concept that you're trying to teach.
Okay.
So you're going to have this inquiry-based initiation, your open question, to get the kids thinking about it.
I think that's
And then you're
perfect.
going to draw off of their prior knowledge to teach.
And then even those lower kids, eventually they might get the hang of it and feel a little bit more confident.
They'll
be
feel
able to
confident
do
because they'll be able to
some of
bring it
that.
at a lower
And
level.
I can help them. I can walk around and help.
Right,
kids
you
as
can
needed.
definitely conference
little
with
bit.
kids. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I like it.
So if you're interested with that, we can go through to 9.3, 9.4, 9.5, the rest of the chapter tomorrow.
And then I also, too, like if there's any specific lessons that we can skip that aren't part of the Common Core or on the benchmark, too, just because it is almost the end of the year.
Let me
just
make
to
a note of that.
Move along a little bit quicker. I want to make sure I finish.
Did Chris send you the spreadsheet that says, you know, what lessons, what Common Core standards
You know
were
what?
taught? I know
Probably
that he just sent it
Jill
out.
has it. I just
Okay.
can't find it. Could I get another one?
Yes, I'll bring you
Okay.
a copy. So we can look at that tomorrow, and we can even, I can show you how I would plan using that.
All right,
Because
that
I know
sounds
there
good.
hasn't been any professional development in that. I can show you that as well.
That sounds great.
Okay, so I made a note of that. I'll bring that tomorrow.
Jill had that,
Spreadsheet.
and we were all looking at it last test, or
Okay.
last chapter 8, but
Right,
I
because
don't
everyday
particularly
math,
have one. I probably missed it.
sometimes it goes beyond the Common Core standard, and that happens in this chapter. We can talk about that tomorrow.
Okay.
But also, sometimes it doesn't always hit every part
This will be
of the
great
standards.
because this is a tough one for me to teach. It's just, you know, different thinking
Mhm.
and
Great. Okay, so
This is good.
this is what I would call both a scaffold and an extension. You're really meeting the needs of your lower students because sometimes they feel too challenged with those math messages, and those higher students are like,
well, those
kinda
math
bored.
messages. Some of those kids will just sit there and they can't do anything. At least this, they might be able to write
Yep.
something. You know, just come
Right.
up with anything.
Okay, so let's move on to the
This
next way I would differentiate.
This is for 9-1.
Yes. So I brought two different strategies. The first strategy were open-ended questions.
I like
right?
that. I got to
Those
remember.
open questions.
Okay.
And we can work on those tomorrow if you still want to.
I'm gonna do that when I start chapter 9. I'm definitely
Okay.
gonna.
So
try
I would
that.
do one for every lesson. So the next thing that I would do with every lesson, and I'd start this next year even from day one, I would have a note-taking frame for your students. So
What do you mean?
a note-taking frame is a way to organize information that you're teaching and things that you want your students to know in order to be successful when they're working independently.
What goes here?
So here you'll see percent. So what's the definition of a percent?
Oh.
So I have
Oh.
an answer sheet here.
Nice.
Or you know, I didn't bring the answer sheet, but I'll have to bring that tomorrow.
So this
you'll
is
put the,
kind of like their answer, and like what we come up with. For
yes.
what
So this is a way to organize your modeling. What you model, I would make
This
as a
might be a
note-taking
good
frame.
like carpet. You know, come to the road with something to write on and
Carpet.
pass this out.
Yep, I'd have it already
Like a
3D
mini
punched.
lesson, kind of, right?
Yes, this would be your mini lesson.
Okay.
So ways for them to take notes. First thing it does is it provides a scaffold. So your students, your lower students
like it.
especially, can use this when they're working independently. I don't
So-
remember how to solve that problem.
Also, after they
so
have
they
this
can
at
help
their
themselves.
desk, or could they bring it home for homework?
I
don't want to
know
lose
it.
them though.
Do you know? Yeah, exactly. So you know what I would do? I would make a answer key anyway.
And then send it.
Home at the beginning of the unit, just like you do for everyday math.
All right, that's a really good idea to send it home for anyone
right.
who needs a little guidance.
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
because
and for parents that need guidance
well, that's what
too,
I was
right?
gonna say. I have parents that it's tough. If I weren't
Right.
a teacher, I don't think I'd be able to teach my own kids.
Right.
It's so tricky.
Right. Or if you didn't
At
have
home.
the manual in front of you too, right?
Well, like I have a 5th grader and a 2nd grader, and my 5th grader, my husband can't always help him because it's tough.
It is. Okay, so if you notice, this goes right along with the first lesson. So I just put in here how to draw a picture of
I
a
love
fraction. What is a fraction? The decimal and the percent. So we're teaching them really.
So
how
I
to
can
do that.
choose if I want to start with 1/2 because that was one that we like make it nice
One
and
half
easy.
is my lesson. Write it here. Color it in. Model. I would model first though. You don't want student input during your modeling.
So this
Decimal,
is all
percent,
modeling.
Modeling, and then I guide.
And that's a guide, and then
So this
independent.
kind of leads me into the next.
Can I have this?
Yes,
So I
you
just
can.
want to write modeling guide on here so I
Okay.
don't forget.
So
And then
you
this
don't
is
really have to. Well, I
definition.
guess you can write it down. But I was thinking. Now, tell me what you think. I developed my own lesson plan for 9.1. Now I know we don't have time. I know you have to pick up your kids in like 5 minutes,
Yes,
right?
I only have a
So
couple.
I know we had a short meeting today, and I kind of wanted to just bring you those ideas. But I planned out a lesson. I planned out 9.1, looking at the Common Core standards, looking at the spreadsheet that we were talking about, looking at ways to differentiate, looking at your pre-assessment, all of those things. I planned a lesson for your class, and I was
Nice.
thinking maybe I could model it for you. So
Would you come in and teach it, and then we could try the question,
yes.
essential question, and the note taking?
Yep, the open question and the note-taking frame. So I can do that for you. But I
Excellent.
really want you to, so I'm going to model other ways to differentiate in here, but I really want you to focus on the way I ask an open question and how I use that to guide
So
my
you're going to
instruction.
teach, and I can kind of, I'll just help
Take
you.
notes and
or-
observe, yeah, or help.
I'm doing,
Yeah.
going to try to do this Thursday at 8:30.
I think I blocked it out because I
Okay.
remember you had emailed me.
Yeah, our math
times.
is in the morning.
So I'm committed to working with you. So,
That
so
will
usually,
be one. Can I look at it?
yes.
That'd be great.
You know what, and I know you don't have time, you can keep this, review it, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. So tomorrow we are,
Oh, wow, and it has the Common Core standard. Perfect.
so do you want to develop note-taking frames? That's my other
I
question.
do.
Do you think it'll meet the needs of some of your students?
Well, I have the special ed kids this year,
Yeah,
so I
okay.
think having something like this, like some kind of,
Okay. Okay.
I don't even know what to
So
call it,
here-
but something, some kind of
Right,
example for
right,
them. I
right,
think that'd
a
be
graphic
great.
organizer
Yeah,
too, right,
yeah.
visual. So,
They need
okay,
that.
so usually when I'm working with a teacher and us coaches, we like to
Connection. I'm sorry.
create a plan.
Okay.
So let's make a plan and maybe a goal for us to meet and maybe a time that we want to meet that by, and then we can reevaluate that goal and move on
That sounds
to a
really
new
good.
goal.
I think this will be perfect.
So let me pull out a goal sheet here. So let me just write this down. So your goal, what would you
I
like
guess
to
my
work
goal
on?
is, well, just to make sure I meet the needs of all my students, you know, from top to bottom. And this is new doing the pretest, so this will be just eye-opening. I would like to like really look at that pretest with you and make sure that the kids who I feel need to have their lessons compacted.
Okay,
Maybe we could do some of that, just because I don't want to waste their time.
right.
And then I think these note-taking frames are just what I need for those lower kids, because sometimes I feel like I'm just talking, and they don't, sometimes they need a visual. So I think
Okay.
this will be,
I'm listening to you. I'm just taking notes.
yeah, no,
Okay.
that's good.
So this is what I'm hearing you say. Let me just write this one last thing down. Okay. So your goal, and I agree with you, I think that's a great goal, how to meet the needs of all your students, how to differentiate, how to scaffold
some.
but extend.
But to really do it
Right.
more.
And I've been in
Because
your
I'll do
classroom
like
many
2-3
times.
levels, but I mean, sometimes you need like 5 levels. I mean,
Right.
you might.
So how to individualize, right?
Yeah.
And
then
I know I've been in your classroom before. You have your workstations. You kind of have like a workshop model going on where
Yes.
students are working at their own level. They're working on the same concept, but they're given different ways to meet that
I only have
area.
like 1 minute. I'm
Okay.
sorry, but
So
also
this is
for real quick, I'm sorry. Like those higher level kids too. The other thing with the leadership team I'm on, we're really trying to push kids making goals.
Okay.
So I didn't know if like those kids that need to be challenged somehow could make their own
Learning goal.
Wouldn't that be neat?
I think all.
I
your
mean, all the
kids
kids
could, right?
should, but I mean, I
Yeah.
can maybe start there, just because I really.
Right. I would have all
Don't
of your
wanna waste their
students do
time.
that.
Is that something else you can help me with?
Yes. Okay, so let's make a plan. So
Okay.
our goal, and I'll type this up and email it to you. Our goal is to meet the needs of all the students and differentiate. The ways that we can get there are first to create a pre-assessment and I can show you how to create a pre-assessment.
Yeah, that was great. the one I
Aligning
just
to
did.
the Common Core.
So not really aligning to everyday math, more the Common Core.
Well,
okay.
both.
Both.
Everyday
okay.
math and Common Core because
right.
We're not moving totally away from everyday math. We need to keep that in mind. Then building open questions and note-taking frames. That's our second step.
Mm-hmm.
Once we've got that and you feel comfortable making those on your own, so we'll make those together tomorrow. But once you're comfortable doing that on your own, we can revisit your goal and move into compacting and creating their own learning goals.
I love it.
Does
I
that
love
sound
it. I
good?
do.
Okay.
I'm so.
So
I have to go
tomorrow
home.
we'll meet at what time?
Lunch is at 12. 12
Lunch.
to 1.
And I'll get back to you to make sure
I can
that
probably
works.
meet with you till about 20 of 1. I do have something
Okay.
I need to get done.
I'll come with some things too, some more the
Okay.
spreadsheet, the manuals, everything, so we can get right.
I'm excited. And then
Go.
Thursday you're going to teach. I
Yeah.
get to relax.
Great.
I'm taking notes.
Okay,
All right.
wonderful.
Thank you so much, Emily. I
Take care.
appreciate it.
Bye.
All right.